Hello and welcome everyone. This is the earnings call for the BSE-Sofia for the first half of 2016. Before we begin, I'd like to make an announcement. In the end of this webinar, we shall take your questions. You may ask the questions using the comment box to your right. Clicking on the chat icon, you will see a second option for asking a question. Please include the number of the slide to which your question pertains to. In the end, we shall summarize and answer the questions regarding the matters discussed in this presentation. And the questions in any other form or using any other functionality may remain unanswered. Thank you very much. So we shall first begin with some general information regarding the financial market as a whole. There are 424 issues listed on the markets organized by BSE-Sofia as at the end of the first half of 2016. You can see this number is slowly decreasing from 2014 all through the first half of 2016. And equity and rates capitalization also decreases, partly because of the smaller number of issues and partly because of lower instrument prices. As the first chart on the left indicates, difference between capitalization and the end of the first quarter and then the end of the first half of 2016 is not that significant. The main index SOFIX increased in the first quarter, but then returned to its value from the beginning of 2016, losing 1.66 points or 0.36% of its value, and closing the year half at 455.55 points. The chart below on the left shows the structure of traded volumes and indicates that traded value by instrument type as a percentage of the total turnover remains stable over time, although the turnover itself shrinks. The same data in the absolute numbers populates the table on the right. The financial standings of BSE-Sofia for the first half of 2016, and we shall make some comparison to the end of the first half of 2015. Regarding the revenue, compared the two-year halves, the numbers are similar except for the decrease in traded volumes, which determines the lower commissions on stock exchange traded revenue, which in turn determines the main revenue of BSE-Sofia. There are certain movements in revenue in other positions, but they are negligible in absolute values. And this chart shows the relative stability of BSE-Sofia revenues as a percentage of the whole, but as we already discussed, they decrease. Regarding the costs, there are no major changes between the costs in the first half of 2015 and the first half of 2016. As we already mentioned when discussing revenue, there are certain movements in the cost items, but they are negligible in absolute values. And you may see from this chart that the cost structure is also quite stable comparing the first half of 2015 and the first half of 2016. Revenue, cost, and financial results. As the chart shows, the total revenue decreases by 135,000 BGN or by 13.85%, while the cost increases by 24,000 BGN or 2.20%. And the earning before interest and tax is actually a loss of 277,000 lefs as at the end of the first half of 2016, which makes a loss per share of 0.042 lefs per share as at the end of the first half of 2016. The asset structure of BSE-Sofia, comparing again the first half of 2015 and the first half of 2016, we may say the total assets at the end of the first half of 2016 were 286,000 or 2.68% lower than the value at the end of the first half of 2015. It is obvious the term deposits with banks have shrunk to zero, transforming into financial assets available for sale or cash, and the cash item itself also decreases. Other receivables and prepaid expenses reflects the short-term part of a receivable on a session contract. As at the end of the first half of 2016, the installments and the interest thereon, which were due at the end of 2015 and at June 30th, 2016, are still pending. And this fact is reflected in the other non-current receivables item and determines the increase in this position. The investment in joint venture companies also grew by 96% due to a capital increase in the joint venture C-Link. Regarding liabilities, comparing again the first half of 2015 to the first half of 2016, according to a decision adopted by the General Meeting of Shareholders of BSE-Sofia held on June 21st, the 2015 loss was covered by means of reserve, and the reserve decreased accordingly. The retained losses item, as at the end of the first year half of 2016, amounts to BGN 295,000, and it is mainly due to the operational loss from the current period. Current liabilities grew by 23% due to an increase in payables to suppliers and other creditors. The increase is a result of growth of the prepaid fees for information services, registration and maintenance of issues on both markets organized by BSE-Sofia, which are paid according to the rules of BSE, are paid and deferred for the whole year. The shareholder structure of BSE-Sofia is stable over the years. There are some minor changes and share transfer between the four main groups of shareholders, but in general the numbers are very similar. The BSE-Sofia shares price movement in 2015 and the first half of 2016 is, as you can see from this chart, very similar to the performance of the main Sofix index, which indicates that the share price is influenced by both the financial results of the company and by the market trends as a whole. The trade in BSE-Sofia own shares during the first half of 2016 was variable. It was in the range between 215 and 214 levs per share, with a high of 2.49 BGN per share and a low of 2 levs per share. A total of 130,577 shares were transferred in 232 trades, and the total turnover was a little over 290,000 BGN. There was a major increase in all trade indicators in March, April, and May 2016. Nevertheless, the volumes, the lots traded, and the number of shares in December 2015 almost matched the total figures for the first half of 2016. So we could say that trading was less active, which is an overall tendency for the whole market. I will now give the floor to Ivan to present our ongoing projects and the future prospects of the company. To you, Ivan.
Thank you, Ivo. I'll try to focus in the next few minutes on the main activities that we are currently up to, what we are doing, and the activities that will focus our efforts till the end of 2016 and beyond. The first project, as you probably know, we've been working for quite some time on setting up a treasuries market on the exchange. Basically, currently we have a draft rule book which currently resides with the Financial Ministry and the Central Bank for for unofficial discussions. Once we agree on the wording, we will basically file for an official approval with the securities regulator, the Financial Supervision Commission, and the Ministry of Finance and Central Bank. Basically, the rules are supposed to regulate the admission process, trading, and to a certain extent settlement with the CSD of the Bulgarian National Bank. The rules provide for listing of domestic issues only, which means that the international issues that Bulgaria placed over the past few years will not be available for trading on Bulgarian Stock Exchange. Regardless of that, domestic issues denominated in euro and Bulgarian leva will be tradable. We will use a continuous trading with auctions trading model, the one that our members and their clients know for trading in corporate bonds and shares as well. So no specific trading model is supposed to be adopted. The trading will be pretty much like trading in corporate bonds based on clean price trading. The market makers will be optional, which means that in order for a certain bond to be listed, market makers will not be mandatory, they will be optional. Nevertheless, if one of our members wants to become a market maker, its quotes should be of size of at least 50,000 euro in each direction, buy or sell. We will define a minimum order size in order to avoid cases when very small trading in corporate bonds, in government bonds takes place. And as a requirement imposed by the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank, no short selling will be allowed with treasuries. The settlement, as mentioned at the very beginning, will not be at the Central Depository CDAD, but it will be, but the trades will be settled at the Central Bank's CSD instead. Nevertheless, trading will be available to all exchange members, but in order to be able to effectively trade, they need to open accounts with primary dealers or sub-depositories. These are different from the members of CDAD. Next slide, please. The next project that we have been working on is the so-called Bulgaria International Market. Once it goes live, we will be able to offer to our clients 75 instruments listed in Europe and the rest of the world. These instruments will be equities, ETFs, exchange-traded commodities, and certificates at start. With some of our key members, we've already agreed upon the list of those 75 instruments, but the final version will be published once we basically draw to the end of this project. All instruments will be quoted electronically by a market maker. This is going to be a new exchange member that will serve exclusively as a market maker to all those instruments. The market maker has a best execution policy, which means that its quotations will be able to comply with MiFID I and MiFID II best execution policy. The price that the clients will be able to obtain will be the best possible price from the reference market, and the quotation size will be quite sizable compared to the Bulgarian market. So no sharp changes are expected as a result of huge orders reaching the order book and hitting the quote of a market maker. Again, we will adopt the continuous trading with auctions model. This is the model that we know from equities and bonds listed in Bulgaria, Bulgarian equities and bonds. Again, we will define a minimum order size in order to avoid very small fragmented orders hitting the quote of the market maker, thus bringing more costs for both the market maker and its counterpart. One significant difference from most of the markets or the reference market of all those 75 instruments is that no market data fees will basically be incurred by exchange members. This is something very different from most of the European markets, where traders and end clients are supposed to pay fees for getting real-time market data. As you know, our clients currently don't pay any market data fees, so this will prevail for the Bulgarian international market as well. And again, this market will be available to all BSE members. They are not supposed to do anything in terms of setting up accounts, authorization, and whatever. These instruments will be available for all of them for free. And in terms of settlement, our local members will settle with CDAD, and the electronic market maker will settle using its Clearstream Luxembourg account. Basically, this market will employ a cross-border DVP, which means that for all trades that take place between a local broker or a bank and the electronic market maker, there will be one net transfer per day for each instrument and one net transfer a day for the cash. This type of settlement requires regulatory approval. This is one of the requirements of MiFID I. So once we basically reach to a completion, we'll apply for approval by our securities regulator. Again, no special accounts are required when it comes to our members. They will continue using the current account structure of CDAD. And C-Link, this is more or less an update of what we've been up to for the past few months. Currently, we have 7 exchanges admitted as members of C-Link, and one is expected to send its application within the next 3 months. This is Bucharest Stock Exchange. We've been assured that they're working on their application, and most likely it will be submitted officially to C-Link by the end of October. All of the founding exchanges, not all of the founding exchanges are currently connected to the production environments. Apologies for that. All of the founding exchanges are currently connected to the production environment. Not all of the adopted exchanges are connected to it. 3 exchanges are currently doing connection testing. This is Athens, Ljubljana, and Belgrade. And we've been assured by our colleagues that do the tests that most likely Ljubljana Stock Exchange and Athens Stock Exchange will be the next to get connected to the production environment. As you may know, we in April launched 2 regional indices. Basically, they have the same composition but use different methodologies. These indices are intellectual property of C-Link, and as announced previously, we will try to basically find a potential issuer of instruments that these 2 indices underlie. The C-Link basically will be able to accommodate BSE international market once it goes live. It is entirely up to the Bulgarian Stock Exchange to define the list of instruments that will be available in C-Link. So our ambition is to include the entire international market in C-Link, thus making it available for trading from the neighboring countries, part of C-Link as well, and for more liquidity on this market. In late June, we met with our colleagues from Greece and agreed on cross-border DVP to be done when it comes to trading between Bulgaria and Athens over C-Link. That means that our local members will be able to settle with CDAD, despite the fact that they will be trading in Greek instruments. And the CDAD will basically settle with Greece using its account once it, of course, is open. but that will greatly facilitate the settlement process, because our members will be able to settle the way they settle now when they trade in Bulgarian instruments. We've also agreed on cooperation with One Financial Media, so on C-Link's website we'll be able to follow certain news, financial news covering the entire region. This is also in progress, and once it goes live, it will be officially announced. When it comes to settlement, we now have 8 interbroker agreements among Bulgaria, Croatia, and Macedonia. These interbroker agreements are essential for C-Link, because without them, no trading can take place. You know that C-Link relies on the concept, on the so-called correspondent broker concept, which means that if Bulgarian investors are trading in Croatia, trading will be executed by a Croatian broker. We have now 8 interbroker agreements. None of them are compatible with FIX. This is the protocol that C-Link currently uses. It's the standard for financial communication in the entire industry. At least from Bulgaria, 8 brokers are supposed to get fully FIX compatible. But as of today, we have none from neither country. We have a few trades that were executed in the production environment, but they have more like test origin. They are executed just for testing purposes, and can't be. We can't say that we have any serious interest in terms of trading, at least of today. And we also nominated a Croatian broker that will act as a research partner. That means that that Croatian broker will cover all of the markets, or at least one, like 60% of the markets, when all of the 8 exchanges go live, and will provide research for the major companies that are traded. Next slide, please. And other focus areas until the end of 2016 and beyond. We expect the first ETF on Sofix to be launched anytime soon. Of course, it needs to be licensed by the Financial Supervision Commission, but once it gets effect, we will be glad to welcome the first ETF on Sofix. Most likely that will happen in autumn. We are currently working on a roadshow in London together with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. We have discussed the potential list of companies with our members, so we are currently working on that, but it will be announced anytime soon. As discussed during the previous webinar, we continue with our non-listed business research project. That means that we are currently researching financial and other data of non-listed businesses in order to get a notion to what extent these non-listed businesses could be interested in obtaining financing through the stock exchange. This is a very lengthy project and most likely will be finished next year in February if everything goes smoothly. But once we get down to a list of let's say 30 companies, we'll be prepare a one-page summary for each of these companies, and we'll try to establish a contact in order to meet the management and get a full flavor of what we can expect in terms of new listings. And last but not least, this is the SME-focused market, which actually requires regulatory changes. This is a natural continuation to the discussion that we initiated some time ago when we requested those regulatory changes in order to able to set up a market that will accommodate small-sized companies, which will not become listed companies under the definition of the prevailing regulations, but nevertheless will be able to trade on a special segment, which will not be part of the exchange, but it will be an MTF, a multilateral trading facility instead, and will serve as an incubator for all companies that want to move to the next level by becoming listed companies afterwards. This is actually the essence of what the exchange can do with regards to supporting non-listed companies on their way to the exchange afterwards, and invigorating SME finance in Bulgaria. But again, once the regulatory changes are a fact, because certain thresholds need to be lifted in order to be able to accommodate companies that are more than, let's say, 500,000 euro in terms of total consideration when it comes to the instruments that will be listed, then this project will be officially announced. So basically that's it with regards to our project. Now Ivo and I will be happy to take any questions that you may have. Just please use the questions and answers panel and not the chat. Yeah, please ask your questions.
Yes, thank you, Ivan. There are no questions currently, but we'll probably give our attendees some more time to send their questions.
Okay, obviously there are no questions being asked. Thank you for your interest in this webinar. It will be uploaded shortly on our LinkedIn page. So please make sure that if you have certain questions, please feel free to contact us at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon, everyone.